If you're looking for a behind-the-scenes insight into music, you've come to the right place. Remember to subscribe to be notified of new content.
Many have said that music has healing properties. Well, in 2020, we have faced a 1 in 100 year event with the COVID-19 pandemic, and music is one element that has helped carry us through. But this pandemic has changed our life in so many ways, especially so for Australian singer-songwriters who were once accustomed to performing their music in a live setting. Join me as I unearth what goes on behind the scenes during these COVID times across the Australian music scene.
This is Behind the Music with LED.
The Fan Files. Hi, I'm LED. Thank you so much for your support through season 1 of Behind the Music, the podcast, and the YouTube series. Today, I'm launching the Fan Files. It is a collection of people around Australia who are willing to share their experiences as listeners, so their listening habits. And the questions have come from some of the artists that featured in season 1. If you'd like to be a part of the Fan Files for future seasons, all you need to do is drop me an email. I'll put it in the description below. But sit back and enjoy, and maybe some of these questions will get you thinking as well about how you listen to music.
Hi, I'm Corey.
I'm Derek.
I'm Jess.
Hello, I'm Johnny.
I'm Michael Dart.
Hey, my name's Simon Banks.
It's Tracy here.
My name is Jono.
Like most people, I like all music. But look, over the last 20 or so years, I've really been drawn to funk and soul, and sort of stuck on one side of that sort of blends into hip hop, and then the other side of that sort of blends into that sort of funky sort of soul house type music. So somewhere in the middle, that's what I seem to be drawn to the most. 1986 out now, and I was chuffed, which means excited, that I had saved up enough cash to be able to go and buy this album. And at the time, I grew up in a Christian family, so most of the music we were listening to had a strong sort of Christian theme, or we had a lot of ABBA albums or Village People listening to my brother's older music. But I went and bought this 1986 out now, and it opened me up to all this synth pop and this British new wave music that was coming, like Arcadia and the Thompson Twins. And for me, it really expanded my mind into this European style of music. And maybe because I was a young boy growing up in Hobart, I wasn't so exposed or listening to commercial radio. But that really got me thinking, well, there's a lot more of this type of music, especially that synth pop. And I'm not sure what influences had, but it certainly expanded my mind as a very young boy in 1986. The music, there's a beat that seems to kick in and turns my brain on in a certain way, and I think, I want to listen to more of that. And I facilitate a huge amount of workshops and always speaking, so I love to have something on in the background when people are doing what they need to do that sort of makes them want to tap their feet and sort of bounce around a little bit as well. But it always has to be something which is never heard on radio and something that people won't easily recognize. So I'm always listening for that music first and that beat which comes in the background, and then it would be the voice followed by the lyrics. And an example of a band I listened to loads because of just the voice, there was a UK band called The Darkness. Around about sort of 15 years ago they were out, had this high falsetto voice, and I listened to them purely because of his voice. It's a little bit of both. However, when the song's maybe a little bit slower, you can tune into those lyrics a little bit more. Like at the moment, I'm really into a UK artist called Yeba, and because she's got such a soulful voice, you seem to get that chance to tune into the lyrics a little bit more. And when I listen to hers, I'm almost crying at every song. I like them so much. And then you combine into that journey and the story behind the song, and then I often will research what the person's singing about as well, so I've got a bit more of an understanding and meaning. So the words mean a lot, but some songs you might just ignore them as well and just tap your foot. I'm constantly going out of my way to find new artists, and it consumes a huge part of my day because I listen to so much music. And look, nothing annoys me more who people get stuck in their childhood or their teens, want to revisit that music from 10, 15, 20 years ago constantly. Absolutely, it's great to listen to those old classics and those old favourites, but don't spend your life bogged down in your past, because the world's full of creativity. New things are being created every day, and you're doing yourself a massive disservice if you don't open your mind up and expose yourself to the new and brilliant music which is being produced every day. And I constantly have this discussion with my brother, who was or is a professional musician, but he just loves listening to stuff from when he was in high school, and it sort of berates me that he doesn't go out and expand his mind a little bit more. I'm constantly changing the music I listen to based on the mood I want to feel and also the mood I'm in. Now, I have my own home office which I'm recording this from, but throughout the day I'm constantly changing the music to match that mood and energy I need as well. Like I have my after lunch music, I have my music where I require deep concentration and my mind's just getting a little bit out of control. I'll go into some really slow music. Friday afternoon I'll always pump up some house just to get me through the end of the day. And when I wrote my book, you spend hours and hours, months, years of writing away. So I really went on this journey of finding that right song to help, or the correct song to help me write. And I went very much into that British sort of pop of around the mid-2000s, like Travis, Doves, David Gray, even though I didn't really like his music per se, but just some of that slow melodic music which open up your mind and sort of helped you to get in that flow of thinking a little bit differently and writing. One of the great things about Spotify is that you're open to so much new music you mightn't have normally listened to. For me, one of the bad things about Spotify is you can easily jump between songs and you might skip a few different ones. So I sometimes lament I've lost the art of listening to a whole album through because I've got a very short attention span. However, when you do jump in and go on that journey as an artist myself, you realise you might have a whole series of artworks in an exhibition, and each of them have a different story, and some might be your highlight ones, but then there's some other ones which sort of came off that. So when you can dive in and listen to that whole album, I think you get a much fuller sense of that artist. And when I do that, I give myself a little pat on the back that I've managed to sort of stay in the flow and keep in that space.